Welcome to the Green Way Outdoors kitchen. Today I'm going to teach you how to make wild game jerky. I'm using a cut of buffalo. Now, making jerky is the perfect solution for those hard to cook meats that might be a little bit tougher otherwise. Let's get started. So this silver skin here, you see this membrane that keeps the muscle attached. This stuff here can get pretty chewy, so you want to get as much of that off as possible. I just kind of grab it, lift up, and cut along it. You want to cut as close to the silver skin as possible because you don't want to cut into the actual meat and waste any. Okay, nice and clean. So now I'm gonna cut right down the middle here, and all I'm doing is making things that are going to fit into here. So the slices need to just be a little bit thinner. So I'm cutting across the grain. When you look and analyze a piece of meat, you're going to see lines in the meat. You want to break up those lines as best as possible. So if they're going this way, I want to cut this way. That way I'm breaking up as many of those lines as possible. Same thing here, you're seeing lines, 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 lines. So you're going to cut down those lines. Boom. That's gonna actually help tenderize it, believe it or not. So now I've got 4 good strips ready to go in the slicer. The first step is to get your marinade ready first. So this is the Backwoods jerky seasoning. I went with Mystique. It's by LEM, so you know it's gonna be good. Drop that into 2.5 cups of water. And I will tell you right now, this stuff will clear your sinuses out, but it makes jerky taste great. It dissolves pretty quickly, but you'll just wanna mix it up in there. I'm going to slide this right under my tenderizer. So this is the Big Bite grinder with the tenderizer jerky slicer attachment. The motor from this actually runs this. It's an incredible machine. Go ahead and turn it on. You wouldn't want to put your hand in there, and you're gonna be mesmerized by this because the first time I did it, I was like, no way does it work that well. When I drop this meat in, it's gonna be as if it just free fell, but it's going to cut it all evenly, perfectly for jerky. Here we go. Done. Again, sliced. Now all those slices are perfect. You can break them apart, but you look, they're all perfectly sliced in exactly the same thickness. That thickness being uniform is gonna make everything dehydrate evenly. So we're gonna put this in the seasoning mix, make sure it's completely submerged, and we're gonna put it on our refrigerator for at least 8 hours. Honestly, I do it overnight and that always works out perfect. Okay, we've actually only let our jerky soak for 2 hours, and that's just because we've got some time constraints with filming. So it won't be quite as colored the same way yours will be. You'll see a lot of dark tones in the meat as the spices soak in. For 2 hours, we're gonna get some, but not quite as much. But if you like a more mild jerky, then this is fine too. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take these strips and we're going to lay them out right on this rack. A step I'm actually skipping that if you were to read the instruction manual, they'll tell you to do, is they say that you should cook the meat to a 165-degree temperature in the oven before putting it in the dehydrator, and that's simply for safety. Now, this is wild game that I got myself. I feel comfortable eating it without doing that step, but for you at home, if you're a little bit more finicky or you might be worried about picking up some weird disease, you should cook it to 165 in the oven before putting it in the dehydrator. But otherwise, this is perfect. All right, so now we're gonna move over to our dehydrator. Now I've got it set at 145 degrees for 5 hours. If you look at the instructions right on top, if you have an LEM drying guide, you see jerky 3 to 5 hours, 145 to 155. 145 is the minimum, and again, I'm not too sketched out by that, and that's what I'm gonna do. So you just lift up your gate, slide it in, close that down, and we'll hit start. See you in 5 hours. It has been just under 5 hours. Now, this jerky here is gonna be super dry. Now, if you like Slim Jims and other moist jerky, then you might wanna go more closer to the 3-hour mark. But in any case, the consistency of that slicer making all the pieces the same thickness, whatever you like, moist or dry, it's gonna be the same each time. I'm Kyle Green. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. Stay green.